Hi, and welcome to this week's episode hosted by Gray and Mark Law of St John's Health and Fitness and Mark Elm of Leeds Beckett University, where we take training theory and science onto the gym floor.
Hey up everybody, welcome back. Yorkshire Fitness Podcast here again. I never know what to say, whether I say welcome back to the Yorkshire Fitness Podcast. It's always slightly different in the intro. Anyway, never mind. I've been lumbered with a job. Don't know whether any of you noticed. These two never do introduction, we've just been chatting about it.
When we started this, we all agreed, it was very clear that that was going to be your role.
It had to be one.
Yeah.
It had to be one person doing the introduction.
And you're the best one, so
We didn't have to audition, no, by the way. So yeah, welcome back. I hope you've enjoyed the last few episodes. If you have tuned in, 27 to go, or 26 other ones to go. If you want to backtrack and listen to some. So as last episode, we just had a general chat about training, didn't we? What we've been doing, what we've got coming up in future, as recent challenges we've done, and stuff like that. Your double bodyweight back squat, elm, and stuff like that. Our type of training. So it was just quite general. We asked if anybody wanted to ask any questions about their training programs, what they should be doing if they were doing a charity event or something new, and they wanted to know what was what. We basically said start strength training if you don't do it already. If you don't do it, if you do, start doing it a little bit more.
I'd like to think we can offer a bit more than that, but yeah, go on then.
that's not get complicated.
Listen to the episode.
Yeah.
Listen to the episode. So anyway, yeah. So welcome back. So today we are going to have a chat about because mainly our main business here is we do run classes as in quite big numbers as boot camp classes, box size, circuit hit. But as probably a speciality, let's say, what we do most of is PT, like 1-to-1 coaching, 2-to-1, and then small group stuff. So it's like the motivation aspect of what chooses. Why do people choose one-on-one? Why do people really want that? Why are people more than happy to train as a couple, either mates or husbands and wives, partners, ring, whatever, or do they like the group setting? So there's loads of things in there that's coming to play. It's financial things, it's motivation, programming, just what experience do they want. So we've just said we'd have a chat about the benefits, what we think are the benefits of each of the different types of training kind of that we offer here.
Like your pros and cons.
Pros and cons to them. We obviously see a different side of this to Mark, because Mark, coming from the S&C world, is a little bit more groups of rugby players, sports athletes coming into a gym and doing the S&C program that is set out for them. We are more on the basis of it. It's just much more individual in it and personal goals rather than team and individual sports goals.
Yeah. So on that basis, let's start off with a question. I'm going to pose a question to you both. I've taken the Parkinson role today for those on YouTube. Got top seats. A bit weird, but we'll make it work.
Yeah, it does feel a bit odd.
At what point, at what group size would you say it stops being personal training? Is there a limit on what to you is personal training, and how many people in the group do you think you'd get to before you go, this is not personal training anymore?
This is a class when it goes to a class. I can't
offer a personal service in there.
I think 3 to 4 people, maybe 5 at a stretch, depending on the space, probably, depending on how much space you've got and the equipment, how things are laid out. But I would say that is for us, that's our small group coaching are like 4 to 5, I would say. We have some like in-slot programs that we run, certain ones we can have like up to 8 and 10 because there's 2 of us. We'll run some sessions where we'll allow a few more, and they can be bigger. I think other than that, I think you are definitely losing the personal touch, because you cannot watch, let's say, 10 people and you cannot be checking on technique and weights they're lifting. Are they lifting enough? Are they not lifting enough? You can't be watching constantly 10 people all working around you because you've got blind spots.
I think you'll know that more. When you're watching people, if you're watching just one person or a couple of people, you can gauge, like, they could lift a bit more here, or they can do an extra few reps, but when you've got more to watch, you're allowing them to self-regulate a little bit more, aren't you? So it's down to them then, and it's down to the motivation.
So about
3 to 4.
3 or 4. So that's on
I think it's still very personal.
Gym floor side of things. What about in terms of the goals, the planning, and the programming, in terms of what you give them to do? So what does that kind of 3 or 4 look like? So if you get 3 or 4 people join up for a group PT session, what personal touch do they get? Is it they all do the same thing, and you coach them differently on the gym floor? Is it they all get a different program? Just so we have an understanding of what a group PT session is look like, and we can work back from there.
You don't make to go there, on you.
Go for it. I've already spoke.
All right. All I would say on that is, it depends on the group, doesn't it? If they might all be working for the same goal, they might all come in, and they all want to lose weight, and they just want to get a little bit general. So you can give them a general program to work towards, and as long as you're improving each week or aiming to improve each week, and there's some progression, then it's good. It's going to have some benefit in it, as long as then the nutrition's right and everything else. But if they come in, they've got different goals, then you can set it out. And I think that just having that amount of that size group allows you to still be a bit individual. Whereas if you go bigger, you start going, you've got to be generic. And you can't say, well, all right, then, well, you can be squatting there and watching them while they're deadlifting and they're doing an exercise. You know what I mean? Because you just lose any kind of control over it, and they could be just doing it wrong, or I'm not getting it all out of it. So if they were, and then it becomes a little bit more the weights that they start lifting at same, whether they're different, you know, like, so does that make sense? I think I had it in my head.
I think what you're probably trying, like, what you mean is like from a training point of view, you're kind of always trying to just progress at it, like the progressive overload.
Yeah.
And if you are in that large group thing, it's really, really difficult, pretty much impossible to get each individual to slightly progress each week. They do it in their own way, don't they, by working harder, pushing themselves, banging a few extra reps out in the set amount of time. Whereas the much smaller groups, or the personal training is all that you can really tailor and monitor that person, how much they are lifting on a session by session. Right, we're going up 2 kilos here. Right, we're down. So I think
you can look at what they did last week.
Yeah.
Listen, we need to be up in that now, Joe. You've done this for a couple of weeks or whatever. Whereas in the bigger the group is, you can lose track of what they've done last week and they end up picking up the same weight again and they do the same thing like they would do. I mean, how many people, you know, they've just gone to the gym for 3 years on trot and they've done 20 minutes on cross trainer, 20 minutes on sit down bike and a few crunches, and they go home and they never change, do they? And they wonder why they never change, because they're still doing exactly the same thing, aren't they? Do you know, like, so you've got to be, so to see that progression, but it's hard. So the bigger the group, so we don't like to go any bigger than that, and I'm sure some trainers might argue and say that they can group personal train 8 people on their own and they can get just as much out of it. I don't know, maybe they're better than us, but who knows? But I think that's about right for us. But we class as group, I think ideally, I think 1-to-1 and 1-to-2 is your perfect sort of thing. 1-to-3 is decent, depending on who they're training with. You know, like, you want people of a similar mindset, but I think that's as we do start moving backwards, and I think that's.
We changed the format of a smaller group stuff, didn't we, a few months ago, to include a big like a lift. So before they started with the group, any group that were a little bit bigger than what we thought was personal and manageable, as in us recording their weights, each exercise they do, we came up with like 2 lifts. So the start of every session, they start with a lift. It was a lower body and an upper body, so they had to do a squat and a push press or a bench press or a chin, you know, like, so for example, and we actually, with the job was to record their weights in his app. So each week, so the new each session, they just did the big lift, and it were a way of progressing, so I suppose progressing, but just through a couple of lifts per block of training. And then we went into the group scenario thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
For the ones that were a little bit larger. So you got a bit of both in each session.
So we're talking about what you do, but what I'm thinking is, like, what questions do people have to ask if they're thinking about joining a group or a small group or couples or 1-to-1 PT? What questions should they be asking to get the right thing for them? So how do you get to a group situation? Do people write it as a group, or do you say we've got a group slot available? How does that work? How do you find group PTs?
For us, it's people who come to us. We want to train as a group. Do you know what I mean? So that's how it's worked for us. We've never advertised group PT slots, have we? As in, we've got group PT slots available. We've just, people come to us and to be fair, on our point of view, they either come and say, I want to train on my own, I want some personal training, or I want to train me and my partner, or me and my mate, or whatever it wants to be. or there's a group of us we wanna train, and then it's then down to sitting down with them in your initial thing and seeing what they want out of it. What's the goals? Is if it's an husband and wife, husband is probably going to want a different goal to the wife. Wife will generally, and it's not being sexist, but they generally want to tone, don't they, or lose weight. Blokes sometimes want to do that, but they tend to be a little bit more straight in for strength stuff, whereas we have to convert women that the strength side of it is a benefit, and that's how we get them to the goals. Is that right?
So yeah, I think the main question, the answer to that question is with the content. We're not the content saying I want one-to-one. Some people just want that one-to-one. They don't want to get involved in classes. Others just want to be involved in the group thing. They love the big groups, like the class. Yeah. The actual out and out classes. Get loads of bodies in, get a big circuit set up, and you're just whizzing around and working as hard as you can for an hour. That type of training. So people have generally got a good idea. We have some, quite interesting though, we have quite a lot of converts who come for one or the other. We've had some who've come like for one-to-one, because maybe a bit shy, like kind of don't want to throw themselves in that class thing. Then once they come here and they start, and they might see a group coming in after they're finishing their session, and it's like, like you see them looking and seeing what's going on. It's like, oh, I think I'm going to give that a try. And then they end up converting, and then they ended up doing both. And we have same vice versa. Some come for the group sessions, the classes, where there might be 15, 20 people in, see somebody having a PT session at the same time, think, that looks really good actually. I think I could really do that. Or they might have a bit of an injury, and it passes on there. But I think generally people have an idea of what they want and where they want to go with the training.
So we kind of cover what is a group PT session. So I suppose next is, what are the pros and cons of one-to-one, one-to-two? And again, the two could be a kind of a romantic couple, we'll call them that, for want of a better term. Could be two training partners who want that. I mean, you get many like that, two people come in who are romantically involved to train together.
Yeah, I've had them this morning.
Oh yeah, well done, yeah. They're the first ones though, aren't they?
Anna and Sue.
Yeah, not romantically involved. What were they now with?
So,
so yeah, that's the first one. No, yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah, they just come to train and motivate each other.
We must have.
Majority have. They've been.
I've gone blank.
I have. My mind's gone blank. We feel really bad now if we miss somebody out.
Sure. If you've been trained by these two, and you weren't romantically engaged, and you came as a pair, please let us know.
Yeah. I like to think that we are your coach is generally the motivation, isn't it? In your training partner, generally. Your training partners are great if you're going running, if you're going to the gym together and just doing your own thing. You're following each other, you're pushing each other on at you. But generally, if you've got a coach, you don't need somebody else to motivate you.
No, but it's having the program, it's having planning in it. That's what they come for. I think they come for because they don't know what to do when they go in gym on their own, and they like that being told what to do. They chat, and they chat to you, they chat to each other, and they're getting told what to do. And I think that's what people like. Like Ellen Bramley today. That's what she says. She goes, I really like it because we're having a chat, and then I'm just doing things as I'm doing it, and then by the end of it, I'm like, oh, I've just trained. Do you know what I mean? I've just done it. You know what I mean? I've lifted more weight. She goes, I'm not having to think. She goes, if I were having to think, oh, should I put more weight on this bar or should I get some heavier dumbbells? She goes, I'd never do it. She goes, but you just pass me in, we're chatting, and I do them, and then after you go, that's heavier than last week. And she says, and I've got, like she goes, and I might think, God, it was a little bit harder, but I would have never have done that on my own. So they like that thing. They're not having. I think for most people, the most stressful part of going to the gym is probably not knowing what to do and not knowing if they're doing it right.
So I'm around the stressful thing being around other people that know what to do, not doing it right.
But many people have got PhD in strength and conditioning help.
We're on about generally. So we're on about so, and that's what people don't like. Like they don't like going into the gym. Because then they'll look and they just go for safest option, don't they? That bit's free. There's nobody around that. There's nobody can see me. I'm going to go on that. And then they feel comfortable on that. So next session, they go and do the same again because that piece of kit's free or whatever. So I think they like the thing. So even so Anna and Sue this morning, they come in and they're chatting away to each other. They're chatting away to me. They've always got something to say and they're just doing it. And I just pass them and I go, right, it's time to go up a weight on that. It's time to go up a weight on that. Do like a bit more weight, less reps, whatever it might be, or you can get an extra couple of reps out of that and doing it. But they're not having the thought for them is not doing it. They just focus on what they're doing there, which goes down to a little bit yours and S&C, that same sort of thing. They don't go in and want to be thinking about what they've got to be doing, do they? They want it there for them, don't they? They might have their own idea at the end that they want to do a few curls, you know what I mean? Or throw a few of their own little bits in. But overall, it's your job to put it there in front of them. They come in, they get through it, boom, and then they're gone out there. And it's similar, but different. And I suppose the experience that they get is different.
I think things like accountability, if they're coming from somebody else, are they more likely to come and not miss? I suppose if it's a partner, is it a bit
Rach and Lisa.
Rach and Lisa.
Friday morning. Sorry, Rach, Lisa. I can't believe I forgot you. 2 mates training together on Friday morning.
Yeah.
So we've gone from none to two. By the end of this podcast, we'll have 13.
I'm just trying to think.
There's definitely more.
Of it time has got to be.
We will split up along the way, don't count either.
No. Yeah, no, we won't.
So things like about accountability. The other one that we mentioned before we came on is affordability.
Yeah.
So do you think that's kind of the main reason why people come as a pair, or is there other reasons why those couples, other than the two people you just mentioned?
Yeah. It could be to do a bit of affordability. It could be just just the cost. If you can split it, if you can split cost and train alongside your mate or your partner or whoever you want to train with,
both
or both, mate, partner, and you can train alongside them, and it's cutting costs, then it does make sense, really, doesn't it? Do you know? I mean, And so I would have thought that the money side of it's got to play a part, no matter whether you can afford it or not. I mean, surely if you can get same sort of service for less cost, you would usually go for that, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? Unless there's nobody else to train with, or you really just do want to, you don't mind that cost, and you really have
charge
to do
extra
it.
to come in the middle of an argument. If you're in the middle of a dispute.
No, it's quite funny. The fees go up quite funny. Gives us something to talk about when next people are not coming in.
Because one of them wanted to take your side, but I'm not getting involved.
We've never had it, to be fair. We've had a few, maybe a few little silences.
Do you think they get out of the way before they get in the door? As soon as they're out the stairs, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, probably. Each other again.
Probably, yeah.
But it works quite good. I think they both work really well. I think, like you said, the 1-to-1 is just, it is what it is. Your 100% attention is on that person. You are constantly checking technique, you're recording the weights, you're changing the program. It's really, and then obviously it just dilutes slightly. So that's where, and then it just dilutes all the way down, doesn't it? To the group classes, like my boot camp last night in here.
Oh, that must have been
like,
really
like
diluted. That
17 people, I think they what, you know what I mean? It can't be as personal as 2 people or 3 people in, so it's like, right, you lot are working down here. Here's the exercises. We're working. We're changing times. We did like a pyramid system. Some are upstairs trying to cover as much distance, and it just is what it is. You can join in and have a go sometimes, as long as there were nobody new last night, so I didn't have to do like a bit of a recce and just check the technique. And it was just like people who've been coming have been here for ages. Everybody's all good with the lifts. We always do that. You get new starters, you always just have to make sure they're all right.
Yeah, they'll talk to me about kind of going to group fit classes and so over there, and they weren't doing half reps and everything. I'm going, that's what they're paying for. That, like, you're not going to get like technical coaching and kind of honest appraisal of your technique in a room full of 50 people. That's not going to happen. If you want that, that's where you have to start going down the PT. If they're going for something else, they just want that communal. Oh, they're sitting there chatting. Well, that's what they're probably paying for. The opportunity to go and chat to the mates because that's the only time to do it. Just happens to get in the middle of a fitness class. Yeah, it's bizarre. That's the only time they can do it. So that's lots of pros there. Where's the cons? We look at 1-to-1, 1-to-2, and 1-to-3 or 4. What's the downsides to that size of group? Not to PT in general. I think there's lots of positives to PT in general. So we're not kind of selling people on that idea. But in terms of if you're going to go, and you're uncertain about whether it's going to be a 1-on-1, 1-to-2, or 1-to-3 or 4. What are the kind of downsides then? So we've mentioned about that kind of personal attention. Is that it?
I would have said that's your biggest thing. I would have said that's your biggest thing. There's no way it can be as personal. I mean, it's called.
What's the
personal
world
training, but
personal
yeah,
training
you know,
company?
like so the more diluted that becomes, the less personal it becomes, isn't it? Like yeah. I mean, just even down to what they chat about. They're obviously going to chat about something different in front of other people than what they are just them on their own. They might want to open up about something that you do get a bit of everything from it, really. You end up being like,
I suppose you might get slightly pressured into doing an exercise that you don't necessarily like because it's just it's like, you know, like we come up with a session plan, right, boom, 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 these are the next ones. If that's one-to-one, that person might go, really don't like that exercise. And you just go, you know what, you don't need to do it, we can do a different variation. There's always something else you can do. It's like, it's just something about, I hate that. We'll just do something else. But if you're in that group thing, they might not just want to go, sorry, but I don't want to do that exercise. Some do. Some do just tell you, I hate that. I'm not. Burpees spring to mind, but let's go.
but
other
you never do
exercises.
that in a group. PT,
No,
you
you
but
won't. No, but that's just an example. But there's so you might, but if you're in even if a small 5 or 6 people, you maybe feel a bit more pressure to go into doing
We
something.
mentioned that at the beginning didn't we, before we came on there about it depends on the people you're going with.
Yeah.
So I suppose the question you've got to ask yourself before you come to someone like yourselves is going, is training with my partner a really good idea for me? Yes, it could save us some money, but it's like going, I know we don't train well together. I know we want different things out of this experience. Going at the same time is not going to end well for us.
No. But I think sometimes that money saving is an overriding thing, rather than, especially if you think that both people want personal training from if husband and wife want PT. I mean, you're doubling cost, aren't you? There, you know, if you want it individually, whereas it's a little bit more expensive doing it both together. There is a slight charge.
It's a premium,
but it's nowhere near. It's not double, not by a long shot. So that saving is quite big in it. So you've just got to be, I suppose, from their point of view, that must override it, unless money's no object.
I suppose it's more of an issue in the smaller groups of 3 or 4 people. They're typically, well, you imagine it's less likely to be a romantic partner if it's 4 people. You never know.
No.
You never know.
Imagine 2 couples. I wonder how that'd be. That'd be a little bit, wouldn't it? Like,
don't open with what you do this weekend because that's not going to go.
Yeah, no, it's
You're going to get a lot more group dynamics there, and like again, more chance that people have different opinions and want different things from it.
Yeah.
So, what point would somebody come to you and say, oh, "We've got this size group. Would you do PT?" And you say no.
I don't think I'd ever say no, but you'd just have to say, "But you know this in PT." I think that'd be my thing. You'd have to say, "We will train you as a group. If you want to come and train as an 8, if there's 8 of you and you're willing to pay for the amount of gym space, this sounds like we're all money, doesn't it? But if they're willing to pay for the amount of gym space they need to train 8, but they can't expect it to be personal training. Don't call it personal training. You know what I mean? It's just group training.
Just
whatever
group exercise. Then,
and we'll try and do it for whatever goals you want to do, but you can't say it's personal training.
Like they said they've got 8 people and 3 want this and 2 want that.
Yeah. I mean, we can do that.
Yeah.
But obviously, we can only spread ourselves so far, and you won't get as much out of it. But we will do that as best we can, like that. If 3 people want to work on this and 2 people, then we can do it within reason. But it's not going to be like you coming to us and saying, "I want to do this," or 2 of you coming and saying, "We want to do this." So I don't think you'd never knock them back, would you? Because there's always ways of accommodating people.
If there were a group of like quite self-motivated people as well who were happy, you know what I mean, who used each other's kind of being there as their motivation to spur them on to continually, you know, just push things up a little bit, then it'll work, won't it?
Yeah. So, like I say, being honest and saying this is not personal training as you might expect.
You can't sell it.
It's not boot camp, but it's not PT somewhere.
That's like that. It's a hybrid, isn't it? That is a hybrid between classes and PT, really. That's that middle ground.
Yeah.
So, but I really think there's advantages, isn't there, to all of them.
Of course there is, If you'll get a good. If you've got 8 people and we're all pushing for the same sort of goal, similar standard, and we're all pretty motivated, that'd be a pretty good group to take. You know, like they could probably get some good results. Chances of that happening.
If you know 8 people that want the same thing as you, you know where to go.
Or take on a challenge. Push each other.
But it takes some doing, I think that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? But I suppose
people.
Yeah. But if you got it right, it'd work, wouldn't it? But there we go. That's how I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
The questions.
I've got a question. You got any questions?
I don't think I have for you. No, not really.
What would your thoughts be on it then? Because you're coming from your side, and that's my final one, because I know we said we were going to kind of try and restrict these on time a little bit. But
Yeah.
so, what would your thoughts have been on it
So-
before? Do you agree with? Can you see where we're coming from it all and think that that's about right, or would you have had any differing thoughts from?
The best I can answer that is how we used to run S&C within the group. So we all have a common goal, which was different phases of the strength, speed, or power, but very rarely got beyond strength because you don't be strong enough. But as you got to know players and their injury histories or where they were in a rehab, you give them different exercises. So you start to write similar programs, but individually varying programs. So you kind of, you was never in like I could never write an individual program for one person within a group of 25 because I just didn't have the time. But you got to that point of you knew what worked for one and didn't work for another. So you write maybe 25 versions of the same program. Each one might be 20% different from the main one. Well, that's probably as close as I get until you got into the rehab space, and you might have 2 or 3 players on ankle rehab, but rare. You'd have hamstrings more often actually. You might have quite a few. Might have a few coming from a rehab. Hamstrings are more common, but they're all at different stages again. So you'd have a hamstring rehab program, but one might be the beginning, one might be kind of halfway through, one might be out for a week, one might be out for 5 weeks. So you have individual stuff there from the rehab space, but from a large group point of view, you'd have only small differences. You never have 25 people on different programs. Right, so we don't have time to write 25 individual programs. And they didn't need to be that individual. They all had to get strong legs, strong back, strong arms, strong chest.
But that does go with most training, anyhow, doesn't it? That's what we're trying to do anyhow, don't we? So it's in as if like we don't do much that different anyhow, don't we? We just do variations of all the same stuff. When the hinge, the squat,
the difference probably would be where your rugby league players would arrive from a relatively similar background. They'd all have that kind of foundation of being trained to do the lifts before. Whereas you might have a couple come in, the one person might have done lots of training before, whereas another one has done nothing at all. Or one's I only go for a run, other ones like I've done ski erg, I've done weights, I've done this, I've done that. So there's huge variation between people where
there is a big.
You couldn't write a similar program for both because it would be completely wrong for one of them. And that you'd have to obviously need to have a very different approach there. Whereas most of the people I would see would be had a kind of a good foundation before they got to us in the first place.
A bigger training.
Either that or I was writing the foundation for them and they all got the same thing anyway. Because they get to
make it to a professional rugby player like say where you were working, they've all generally done a good bit of S&C.
Some to a higher standard than others, but they'd all had something. So like if they'd like go and do a back squat, they all knew what I meant and done it before, and some be stronger, some had better ability, but they'd all know what to do.
Very good.
Cool. Sounds good.
There we go.
So, any advice, anything that you've picked up on there, if any of that can help you with your goals? So, generally, in a nutshell, comes down to your goals, doesn't it? What you want, like you say, if it's affordability, but really what you got, how personal you want your training to be. If you really feel like you need your coach or your personal trainer to motivate you and help you with the programming, the smaller group, the personal training, all this really small group stuff is you're pretty good with the motivation, but you need a bit of a kick up ass. You need to book onto a class to get you in there and work hard and push yourself against other group people. The classes are for you.
I suppose, I mean, that one, if you're in a class and you're talking to this person next to you, you're both finding the same thing challenging, like going, oh, I'm really good at spin, but when they put the level up really hard, we really, really struggle. You're going, well, we could book on to PT to help us do that because we both got the same problem. So there's opportunities there that maybe people don't think about. Whereas a 1 to 3 kind of personal training environment might work, and that, like you say, is born out of that group fitness session. So if you are struggling with your pull-ups or you're struggling with your burpees, as most people do because they're horrific, there are the opportunities there. But like I say, it's finding people with similar goals. Equally, if you want to come as a pair and you know you've both got very, very different goals, want to go at them in a very, very different way, maybe that isn't the right choice for you. And just because it's cheaper, I'm saying it's better.
No, but if it's your only option,
there
we go, don't we?
and argue about it when you get home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. Right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope that that helped a little bit. If you can pick his brains in any further detail, just drop us a message, get in touch, and we'll do what we can.
We do need more messages, I think.
Yeah. Remember, they never say no. You heard that here.
Yeah. So get in touch if there's anything that we can help you with your training.
Yeah.
All right.
But do
Nice
say no
one.
sometimes.
Nice one.
Episode 27. We're signing off. Good.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked the episode, we'd like you to share with us that on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter. You can listen again on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a rating and a review, and any comments would be more than appreciated. And hopefully you'll tune back next time for our next episode.
The Yorkshire Fitness Podcast.